Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. I'm back. I'm back. I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday. I am outside. It is hot, y'all. It's hot out here. There is not too much wind blowing or anything like this. And for all of you who don't live in Florida, I'm sure you've seen on the news that there's a storm that's coming, and everybody's preparing. Do not do what I did. I went to the grocery store without a list. Don't do what I did. Don't do it. I went to the grocery store without a list. Um, Another reason why you don't do it is, yes, prepare, but do not fall for the hype. If it is not in your budget, even if it's a storm, you got to ride it out with what you got in your cabinets. Okay? Um, don't buy 20 cases of water if you can't afford 20 cases of water. You know, maybe you need to try do the gallon jugs or something like that. But do not go over your budget. But anyway, that's the budget piece. But we're talking about debt. I hope the other two sessions were helpful for you. I was trying to give you guys a break so that you can enjoy your holiday without thinking about anything. Hey, Miss Jennifer. Um, Several things, okay, can happen. We're talking about debt. If you don't pay your debts, that's why we prioritize. We only did the one column where it's the P1s that we call them. Go back and look at the previous replay. But several things can happen, okay, if you don't pay your debts. Of course, you have late fees, all of that. We don't do late fees. Your debt collector can't contact you unless when you got to answer the phone and you tell them, I don't want you to call me. The only means of communication must be in writing. So, and especially tell them don't call you at work. That's an absolute no. No, when you're on other people's jobs, you are there to do a job. So you don't have time to talk about your personal business, especially on debt collector at your office. If you got collateral attached to that debt, like a car or a house or furniture, you go past due and don't pay that debt, of course they can repossess that. Of course your credit score is going to take a ding and be lower. There are going to be negative entries on your credit report. And then if it's a high amount, and I'm not going to say what the amount is because that's a personal one-on-one you and I would have to have, they can sue you. So if you need help and you're at that point, schedule a one-on-one with me and we'll talk about some things that you should say to them, because you're going to have to talk to them. You don't want anybody to sue you and you don't have a say. You have a voice until the end, and somebody needs to hear your voice if they're going to sue you, okay, about a debt. But before you pay those debts, remember we got the column 1, the P1s. Those are vital. Those are things that, like, you're cutting off your breath. You need a place to stay. Even if you are renting a room, you need a place to stay. Okay? You need a car if it takes you to your job. You need that. So you have got to pay those bills. Hey, need your what else do we have? Utilities. No sense in you paying the utility bill when you ain't got no house, okay, or an apartment or wherever. But those other debts that we set aside, the ones that are old, that's older than 2 years old, those gonna go in another pile. They're older than 2 years old, those debts. Those bad babies, we hope they're gonna fall off. But if they don't, then we're gonna teach you what to say in order to strategize, because the goal is you got to get it off your credit report so your credit score can go up. But the goal is to get out of total debt. Now, I did something that I normally don't teach. I got pissed off. And it was a small balance. And the things that we teach is don't let them push you there. And it wasn't in bad standing, but I got fearful. And so I paid the whole thing off and it was $300 and some. And you should never, ever, ever do that. Do not be an emotional, paying your bills by emotion. I know I teach that, so I'm guilty. But I just got tired of seeing that little $300 bill, and so I paid it all off. What that does, when you pay stuff off that's not on your list to do in order, how you doing it? Okay, now I use other money to pay that off because I got emotional about something that probably wasn't even going to happen. Like I said, we weren't past due. I just got tired of seeing them little bills come in for $300. But anyway, before you pay any debt, you make darn sure, okay, that you owe the debt. I know, some people say, well, it's mine. No, you got to make sure that the debt is valid. You actually owe it, okay? And the statute of limitations. They just can't collect debts off of you forever. There's statute of limitations in place by state. That's one thing. Another nugget is, are they authorized to even collect money from you? Are they authorized to collect money from you? Are they a legitimate business? Are they licensed in your state to collect past due debts? I've had one years and years ago that called me. And when I want to be nasty, I answer the phone. Years and years ago, called me. And, oh my God, it was so long ago. And I think I had filed bankruptcy. Like, when I say years, I'm old. I'm older. And the man, dumb. He purchased debt that was already wiped clean. Because I was previously married before. And, depending on your situation, sometimes if you're going through divorce and you don't have any other option and, I had to do what I had to do. But anyway, he's dumb. When you file certain bankruptcy chapters, all your debt is clean. Swipe clean. I was just in an abusive marriage and I had to get out of that. And so it was a lot. We had A1 credit, but it was a lot of debt that was attached to that. So when that joker called me up on the phone, he told me who he was. I said, you who? And when he told me, I said, you stupid as fire. I said, my slate is clean. I don't owe you. He's like, well, what do you mean? I said, did you even pull my credit report to even see that all of my debt has been wiped out? He got a little smart, like, well, I knew what I was doing. I said, no, you dumb as hell, because you ain't gonna get nothing. You paid money for this debt without doing your homework, doing your research to see that I owed nobody. So when I tell you I done been through the gamut with credit and stuff, this is why I teach what not to do. Don't file bankruptcy if you broke. If you don't have thousands of dollars sitting somewhere, because the bankruptcy initially is going to hit your credit and it's bad. And don't file bankruptcy and pay and then change your mind. Guess what? Because you simply filed and paid your filing fee, it's going to be on your credit report. I don't care if you change your mind. Anyway, that's another story. But make sure that debt is yours. Make sure that it is not out of the statute of limitations, because it's a limited time, there's a limited window that they have to collect on that debt. And then you always want to make sure, like I said, you're dealing with a legitimate debt collector. All right, if you need help with finding out how the statute of limitations work in your state, by all means, subscribe to our newsletters, and some of that information goes into there. Consider becoming a New Way builder. But anyway, if you do owe that debt, the ones that I'm not telling you to pay yet, you never pay full price, ever. We don't pay full price. Even when you're purchasing something in a store, retail, never ever pay full price for nothing. Never, always negotiate. It's the same thing when it comes to your debts. You're going to negotiate. You're not going to pay a dime until you negotiate, and then you get the information in writing before you pay anything. No, you're not going to give them your account number in your checking account or your savings account or anything. No, you're not going to go put it on no card or anything like that, and call them and give them the number off the back of the card. No, we're not doing no dumb stuff like that. We're not doing that. If it's a legitimate debt, you've already done your research, you do owe it, and and they agree to take it completely off your credit, I don't care if they say, well, that's not legal. Honey, we're talking about your life and your credit profile. They can do whatever they want to do. They can do whatever they want to do, but your goal is to make sure it benefits you. So if you're going to pay it, no, do not make payments. If you cannot pay it in full, let that debt sit in that pile that's 2 years and above. Because when you have that cash in your hand, that money talk. I don't care if they say, well, no, I'm gonna need, say for instance, $2,000. I'm gonna need the whole $2,000. This is what you tell them. Sweetheart, I have $2,500. I have 3 collections, and they are all over $2,000. So the first person that answers the phone and accepts my bid is going to get this money. It could be you, or it could be collection number 3, collection number 2. You choose. But once I hang up this phone with you, whoever accepts whatever your settlement that you're offering, that is who you're going to pay. You're going to send those jokers a money order, cashier's check, they still have them, honey. Go to the bank. But not before you get that letter stating that they're going to take it off your credit, or I hate to do settled in full, because that's just as bad. It takes time. If they want to set up a payment plan and you've done your budget, you better make sure you can afford those payments, because it can go from bad to worse. All right. We talked about a little bit on what debts to pay first. Never try to let a medical debt go in collection if at all possible. I have known people and I have counseled people to pay $5 a month. That's all I got. $5 a month, $10 a month. And you consistently have it automatically coming out of your bank account to the creditor on time. $5 or $10. That's it. And do that for 10 years, 15 years, however. You know, unless you come into some money, not no tax refunds. We're not doing that. Then you've got student loan debts. Okay, I know a lot of people got student loan debts. There's been some legislation that's passed when you're purchasing a home, because it used to be a certain percentage that they would count, even though it may be in deferment or whatever. You would have to have a one-on-one, and then I can tell you specifically how that works. But everything has been on hold because of the pandemic. Well, hopefully you've been setting aside a little bit of money, if it's nothing but $5, $10, because when your student loans become due, after that time period is over, now it's time to pay the piper. I'm trying to think of what else. Medical debt, we got student loan, or for you really need to know if you are qualified to get a certain type of repayment, income-based. If you are unemployed, now is the time to get on the phone and say, hey, I need an income-based repayment plan. Well, how much do you make? I only make $100 a week. What can you help me with? Okay. You don't want the student loans, once it becomes active after this pandemic, if it gets better, you don't want the student loan people to come after you. You don't want. You're going to be paying more in fees and interest. They can garnish your wages. Yeah, I don't recommend playing around with the student loan people. They are easy to talk to. If you do a one-on-one with me and you feel more comfortable with me calling and negotiating on your behalf, that's up to you. But they can do wage garnishment. They can do account garnishment. It just depends on how much you owe. And every October, November, you want to look in your mail to see if you have a U.S. Treasury offset letter. They send those out in October, November, right before tax season, to let you know, hey, when you get your tax refund, we finna knock your head off and take your student loan money. Hopefully that won't happen this year because of the pandemic. All right. Then if you are intending on going back to school, you may not be able to get more federal student aid. Okay. So with that situation, it's still a debt. And if you're really considering about going back to school, first of all, you got to ask yourself, do I need to go back to school to get a certain job or change my careers? If those jokers say you don't need a certain degree to get this job, do not waste your money on student loans. Those debts stay with you until you die. Let's hope that the law changes. But yeah, they can come out after you. And then there's a negative entry on your credit report. And so that is not what you're trying to do. And it delays you in your process. Do the tier ones that we talked about first. That's to sustain you. Whatever money that you have left over and it's not in collections, get on the phone and negotiate. We call it hat in your hand, and going out and talking to them, as humble as you know how. Listen, I'm affected by the pandemic, and whatever you got to tell them, all right, to negotiate, to make sure that they don't put you in the collections, and ask them, are you going to report this on my credit report? And I'm talking about after the pandemic, okay? Those are the main debts that you need to take care of. You don't want anything to get on your credit report, because that's even harder. Now, we're talking about student loans. You want to look at, there are different student loan programs that you got. If the school was closed and they went out of business, that may be a different discharge that you can get. The public service loan forgiveness, that's the one that I have because I work for a nonprofit. I do nonprofit work as well, and so you make so many payments and then they forgive that, but that could be forever. The teacher loan forgiveness, you want to look into that. If you are a teacher in the school system, there are some programs that forgive your student loans based on you being a teacher. If you are total and permanently disabled, there are some other discharges with that too. And of course, they always say, when you die, your debt die with you. True, but I wouldn't take no chance. I don't want to leave it on my kids anyway. All right. Managing medical debt, we'll talk about that. If you have medical debt, you can leave a comment if you're watching the replay to let me know what other debt that you want to talk about. But right here, we're trying to sustain. And once you have divided up those debts, and if you actually owe them, okay, then we will move into the process of how do you pay them. Do you have to pay them what they're asking for? Everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. Of course, they want money to collect on that debt, but it's all about what is best for your household, for you. You're not around here buying Mercedes and then you've got debt. That's not what I'm talking about. You have to be able to live. You have to be able to be mentally stable and not overwhelmed with stress because of debt. Okay? So make sure you've got your P1s already taken care of. That is the first thing that comes out your paycheck. All right? And don't do like what I did. I spent about $68 without, and I didn't really buy what I needed, $68 without a grocery list. Because we always keep water and I always keep Gatorade in the garage. It was way before this. So I'm not going to do a panic spend with toilet paper and all of that stuff. I'm not. I'm sticking to my budget. So are you. You stick to your budget. You stick to your savings. Go back and look at the replay of the savings challenge, because we ended with $100, but you really need to have at least $1,000 or $1,500 in your emergency savings plan. You need to have that in a high yield savings plan, Synchrony, Ally, something like that that's making you some interest. You need to get, of course you want it fully funded about a year, but for right now, we ended up with $100. Hopefully you've still maintained and put that $5 a week or however, because there's always going to be emergencies. You're going to have emergencies, until you die. But I hope this has been helpful. I'm sorry, y'all, the mosquitoes out here. I was trying to get my little walk in before the storm got in. But if you want to talk about, like I said, a specific type of debt, you can DM me. You can reply to this live and replay, because I'll go back and I'll look at it every now and then. It'd be best if you be a subscriber, because we're on all social media platforms, one of our subscribers. That way you'll have our email address and you will get first dibs on everything that we are doing, our products, our books, yes, our journal, all of that this month. You will get first dibs. Free? Nope, you're not going to get it free because it wasn't free for me, but you will get dibs, first dibs on a discount before it goes Amazon and everything else, and that's going to be full price. All right? Separate your debt. 2 years or older, we're not going to worry about them. The ones that's not on your credit report, that is the one that you're working on. You need to validate them, make sure it is yours, make sure the balance is correct, and make sure it is the original creditor that you owe. All right? Got any questions? You hit me up. All right? I am here for you because you can do this. You can do this. If I can get out of debt, except my house, you can do this. And we can do this together. All right? Get out there and get that walk in. All right? Some nice night out. Get that walk in and just de-stress. All right? Love y'all. Grace and peace. Bye.